trying to find the best place for my face. Ah, dear. Yes, I still have the fridge behind me. It's only one more sleep till I start making the way home, but I have lots of people to catch up with on the way home, which is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to the trip back. Have readings tomorrow in Brisbane, and then I'm heading down to Port Macquarie to visit and down to Newcastle to visit, and then I'll be home on Friday. So I want to let you know that I won't be doing readings after today until next Monday. I'm going to have a really, hey, how you going, spirit animal? I'm going to have a complete break between now and next Monday. I've booked myself in for a nice massage today, and we're totally chilling till I get back. How are you, Lynette? It's been a big shift for my body this morning. And it was beautiful because I woke up to butcher birds on my veranda, and I love butcher birds. I've never been up close to one before, or two, because I had two. Hello, Laurie. Hello, Faye. And to you too. Happy Mother's Day. But I love their singing. So if you ever, hey, I am. Thanks, Jane. I'll be home in around about a week. Yeah, well, 5 days now I've got left. But if you look up butcher birds and look up them singing, they have the most amazing songs. And I used to think that, I never used to know what they were. It took me a while to work out what bird it was singing, but absolutely beautiful. So I had two of them on my veranda this morning, which was really gorgeous. All right, I'm going to do what's cracking. I may have time for a few questions at the end. I know some people sort of wrote to me after the last session and said they had some questions. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you today. I'll attempt. All right, let's see what's happening in the what's cracking world. Oh. Ciao. Ciao, Italy. How you going? How beautiful. Good morning. Butcher birds are beautiful. I think they're really pretty to look at. They're very strong, like... they're a lot like I want to say look like a little mini kingfisher really, because their beaks are really strong, but their song is amazing. So if you've got a few minutes, Google Australian butcher birds and listen to their songs. They're great mimics, but just so beautiful. So look, we're coming out this morning with the 10 of Cups. How awesome is that? I didn't expect that today. So the 10 of Cups is a beautiful card because it talks about the end of a cycle, but it talks about the end of a cycle but sort of ending on a high note. This is some place where you feel really happy, really content. It's all about families. For me, it's about having your ducks in a row, as I always say. But it's such a beautiful card to start the day on. Well, that's interesting because the 10 of Wands is behind this. Okay, so let me just get a feel for this because this is something to do with the end of a cycle, and I know there are many of us at the moment who are closing out a cycle. Being we've got the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Wands together, it tells me that something needs to be put down. Oh, nice, yeah. Hey, how are you, Rachel in Ireland? How are you? This is something to do with ending a cycle, but actually I feel, hey Tina, how you going? I feel that this cycle you're ending, although you're putting something down and you're putting burdens down, it feels like to me that this is a really good thing. So it's sort of this energy of closing something out, but in a good way. So maybe you're closing out some burdens, but I feel like you're in a really good place here. So you may have done all your self-work, you may be feeling really on top of things here, because this is actually, even though that's the 10 of Wands, this is really nice energy. So it's almost like putting a burden down, but feeling grateful and happy and content that you've got to the end of this cycle. It's really nice energy, even though it's the 10 of Wands. Wow, and we have the Ace of Cups here. What a beautiful reading to start your Monday morning. I feel like this is self-love. I feel like you may have been through a lot of hurdles here. You may have done a lot of work on yourself. I feel that you're coming to some sort of ending here, but I feel like this here, for me, is about self-love. It's about being in this really high vibration, but really understanding who you are and what you represent, I want to say. This is just absolutely beautiful. It's all beautiful energy this morning. All right, so we have the Death card. All makes sense here, being followed by the Knight of Swords. All right. This is transformation. I feel like you've been through a huge transformation. Now, I'm not sure who I'm speaking to here. Some of you may have already gone through this. Others of you may be in a process at the moment. And for others of you, this may still be to come. We know with tarot readings that time is fluid. So it can be past time, present time, future time. Might be different for all of you. But what I'm feeling here is that you're going through some sort of transformation in order to get to this self-love. This could mean that you have been doing, as I said, self-work. You may have been on a bit of a journey with this Death card coming through. But I feel like here, because I've got this Knight of Swords coming through with the Five of Swords and the Hierophant, you've put something behind you. Six of Swords, look at that. So some of you have put something behind you. This is why you've undertaken this sort of energy to find yourself here. So you've left something behind that was no longer serving you. Now, I know we've talked about cycles. We've talked about a lot of things about yourself, especially with the couple of talks we've done over the last week or so. But I feel like a lot of you are putting something, some sort of cycle behind you. It doesn't feel like a person or a situation. It feels like something to do with yourself, something deep within you, because you're sort of taking on this energy now of this Knight of Swords. And what that says to me is that you're coming forward with this sort of energy of being able to take on anything now, because you're feeling like you want to take the risks. You're feeling like you want to get back out there. So you've gone through some sort of huge change here. Let's see what it talks about. All right, so we have the Six of Cups. So yeah, this really says it for me. I feel like you've let go of stuff that's been holding you back. Hey, Scott, how you going? Some sort of stuff from the past that's been holding you back here. You may have let go of sort of those energies that have kept you trapped. There's letting go of the past thing, letting go of these energies, letting go of these old ways, old cycles. It's a big clearing for us because we've identified with this for so long. I always say to people when I'm coaching, how has this served you? This hanging on, hey, all things wavy. How does it serve you? You know, hanging on to these energies, and you think, well, you know, if you've been sort of living like this for a really long time, then you've hung on to a version of yourself that's been very comfortable for you, or very, it sort of feels aligned with you because it's what you know. So when you start to shed or discard, like you're a snake, you're shedding a skin here, and you're starting to sort of belly up to who you really are. So the vulnerability is coming through here. And I feel like in doing that, you're really starting to understand perhaps yourself at a much deeper level. This is why you're high vibrating with that Ace of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, so now you have the Two of Swords coming through. So Two of Swords talks about some sort of decision that needs to be made here. I'm always drawn to the moon on this card because the moon talks about not having here, because it's only a quarter moon. It's about not having enough information. So it's like going out on something or advancing on something or taking a chance on something that you don't have all the information. That is risk, okay? So when you have all the information and you move forward on something, it can be sort of like an informed risk, or sort of having some knowledge before you take a leap. But when you have very little information and you've got to make a decision, it will require you to take a leap without any doubt. It's like a leap of faith. The Two of Swords is always a very difficult decision to make for that reason, because you're making something, you're changing something, you're moving forward on something without having all of the information. All right, so you could be dealing with Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio here, because I do have the King of Cups coming through. I feel like this is something to do with, it could be somebody from your past here. It could be that they are making a decision here, but I feel like this is you making some decision to to release something, to let something go. Let me just pull another card. Yeah, wow, Queen of Coins. All right, you could be an earth sign dealing with a water sign, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, or vice versa. For me, this is about energy today. It's really about energy. I feel that you are stepping into this energy of self-acceptance and love, which is bringing you in this beautiful stability here. Five of Cups, radio, definitely here. You're putting some sort of sadness of the past behind you. Now, as I said, for some of you, it could be a person, but I feel like it's more energy here. It's like you're putting some sort of sadness of the past behind you. So it could be that you could have been dealing with one of these people. Hey, Sean, how you going? It could be that you've been dealing with one of these people, but it feels more like energy for me. It's almost like you're understanding how to leave stuff behind so that you can open your heart or become more vulnerable or more open. Because it's bringing in this stability here. So it's almost like this energy of being able to discard perhaps stuff around your heart or some sort of cycles that are allowing you to open your heart back up to love here. I don't know what you've all been doing, but this is really beautiful energy coming through today. It's about really understanding your journey. Hey, how you going? More than welcome. But it's like you've sort of, when I say you've peeled back a layer or you've shed a skin here, whatever you've done here, whatever you've moved aside, it's allowing for love to come through and your vulnerability to show. So you've rid yourself of some sort of cycle or some sort of energy that's been holding you back. How are you, Jolene? Some sort of energy that's been holding you back here, because it's releasing your heart. It's like you're releasing the heart space. All right, let me just keep going. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands coming through with the Seven of Cups. Okay, something is changing very quickly because you have the Eight of Cups coming through here. Two eights again. The eights and threes coming through a lot. You've released you've walked away from some sort of illusion here. Let's talk more about the illusion. I was reading a book somebody gave me, and thank you for the person who sent me the book because I've been really enjoying it. And it's called The Light Side of the Shadow Workers, I think it's called. The Shadow Side of the Light Workers. I'll get you the name of it. And it has some exercises in it, but what I love in it most is it has some really good examples of the sort of things that we do to block ourselves. Now, with an illusion, what we can do, and the way they represented it in the book, and I'm going to try and just do it briefly for you, but they talked about, hey, Renee, how you going? They talked about you living in a castle, right? So you're living in a castle that sort of has thousands of rooms. And each one of those rooms is a different aspect of yourself. And this actually relates to your dreams about your own personality. So let's just talk about this castle. So the castle has lots of rooms, right? All different. And one day you're walking somebody through this castle. And they walk into a room and they go, oh, I don't like this room. So you go, really? Okay. No, I hate it. It's horrible. So you go, all right, then so you close the door and you lock it and you don't go back in there. Hey, Carol, how you going? So you lock that room off. And then, a week later, a day later, sometime later, somebody else comes to visit your home and you're walking through the home, showing them this beautiful castle with all these rooms, and they walk into a room and they go, oh, don't like that room at all. Don't like it. So you go, really? So you close that one down too. So then over a period of time, there are lots of people that visit your castle. And a lot of them, you will close the rooms down because they do not like the room. It sort of seems really, sort of simple when I explain it like that. But when I read it in the book, I was like, wow, this is what we do as people. So when we're young, people tell us that they don't like a particular aspect of us. You may be too loud, too shy, You may make light of things, you may be over loving, you may be too sensitive, which was always the one for me, and you start to close down those rooms. So you close down those aspects of yourself that do not serve you, especially if other people are telling you they don't like you, because you don't really have the internal strength when you're younger to say, well, that's too bad because I actually really like that about myself. So you close it down. So what happens is you create this illusion of yourself, because what you're doing is you are presenting a part of yourself to the world, which is the castle with only some rooms showing. Eventually you'll have all of those doors closed, because not everybody is going to like everything about you. That's just the way life is. In fact, it is a really hard thing to learn that people aren't going to like you. A really hard thing to learn. But once you understand that, hey Mallory, how you going? Once you start to understand that you probably are going to feel the same way about other people, and people mirror what you don't like about yourself. So, you know, if you don't open all those doors up, then you're not embracing that shadow side of yourself that you're hiding away, that probably holds so many beautiful things about yourself that you don't feel comfortable with. And why? Because somebody else didn't like them. Has nothing to do with you at all. So learning to open the doors again is a really difficult thing for us, but it's about breaking this illusion that we think we're a certain kind of person. There is a walking away here of things that no longer serve you. This is an emotional choice. This is about leaving that negative stuff behind. It's about moving into a time where you are now looking for that cup that you've sadly put away somewhere. See, there you go, all things wavy. And that's what this book is. Let me just grab the book. Okay, that's what it's called, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And it's by Debbie Ford. It's a really cool book. It's only little. It says it's about reclaiming your power, creativity, brilliance, and dreams. But what I love, the exercises are really good in it, but what I love more than anything is her analogies. I think they're very simplified and very easy to understand. So I've really enjoyed doing some of the exercises in that book. So let's move on. There's some sort of rapid movement around you anyway, because you're making a choice to leave something behind about yourself. And I feel that what you're leaving behind here is this illusion, this part of yourself, or maybe lots of parts of yourself that you've never embraced before. Okay, so we have the Empress coming through. How beautiful is this? Nice, Lynn. Nice. So this is the Empress coming through here. So this is what whether you're male or female, you're unleashing here this feminine aspect of yourself, this beautiful energy that you've kept hidden from everybody. Oh, there you go. How are you, Karen? This energy that you've kept hidden from everybody else is a part of who you are when you embrace the shadow. So once the shadow becomes a part of who you are and you're comfortable in accepting that, this is who you become. Very, very nice. I have the Page of Swords coming through here with the King of Swords. Wow. For some of you here, you might be doing, hey Melissa, how you going? Willy Wagtails. The butcher birds. Ah, beautiful. And nothing more beautiful than being in the countryside. I love the birds in the morning, and I get some in Wollongong, but it's not quite as beautiful as Queensland. They have so many more sort of tropical birds here. So I see that you are here, possibly going to put your skills to the test here. I really feel that you're going to start wanting to use this new expression of yourself to show other people where you've come from and where you're up to. This is really nice energy, and that's what I said in the beginning. I feel like with that 10 of Wands being put down, the 10 of Cups is what's coming from it. So it's almost like really understanding how putting this burden down is bringing in a whole new set of realizations or beliefs for you. And I feel like you're almost bursting at the seams now to be able to share this with others. I really love it. And look what comes up next. I love it, love it, love it. So you're standing in your truth now. You're standing in your truth and you are stepping in to the person you were meant to be. And as I've been watching a few readings, I haven't watched a lot of readings since I've been up here. I've sort of tapered down to watching just a few readers now. It becomes a little bit of a, I love it, but it becomes a little bit of an addiction when you're watching too much. So nowadays I'm probably only watching 3 or 4 readers. But most of them are talking about this energy coming through at the moment, this sort of unraveling, revealing this sort of part of yourself here, these parts that you've hidden away in this illusion. So there's lots of this energy coming through at the moment. So I know that we are being led to do this by spirit. I know that a lot of us are sort of leaving behind parts of ourselves that no longer serve us. So it's fabulous work when it comes through in the readings, because you think there must be so many people doing this at the moment. All right, let's have a wisdom of the oracle cards. Oh, Sisters of the Seasons, cycles of growth, natural law, and divine order. All right, 17. When the Sisters of the Seasons meet you on your path, they remind you that everything has a natural rhythm that obeys a higher law. Just as the seasons magically pass, be reminded that the nature of birth, growth, harvest, and decay cannot be altered. So if you keep on your path with determination and discernment, allowing for the natural course of events to unfold, success is assured. Divine appropriate timing is guiding your desires into perfect manifest form. This is a very good period to start new things as you've moved out of winter into the beginning of spring. That's so beautiful. Continue with patience and be aware of the rhythms of your opportunities. There will be periods when things slow down and begin anew, move into fruition, and then slow down again in a never-ending natural flow. Be mindful of which sister greets you, for she points directly at the next. Every moment counts now. So there is something you're closing off that no longer serves you. Whatever it is for you, for some of you it will be some of those cycles that have kept you bound. For others of you, it may be getting rid of other things around you that have kept you trapped, trapped in a way of thinking, in a way of doing. But whatever it is, it seems to be the flavour of the collective at the moment, which is absolutely beautiful. There were a couple of things I wanted to do as announcements this morning. I've been asked to do the Body, Mind, Spirit BMS in Sydney next week. So that is a 4-day festival up at Darling Harbour. So if you're interested in coming up and having a reading from me, if you live in the Sydney area, I will now be there, so you can have a look out for me. If you need any more information, please flick me an email or text me on that. So I'm very excited about being given that opportunity. There was something else too. I'll think of it. There's something else that I needed to announce as well. Also, I have an opening now for 3 people in my coaching program. It is individual coaching. It's not together. I do each person individually. And I'm offering, I offer sometimes at reduced rates just to keep the coaching flowing. So if you're interested in doing those, I'm offering 3 at the reduced rate again. So just get in touch with me and I'll work out from there where we go with that. Other than that, you're free to open questions. And I know somebody wrote a question to me the other day, and I can't remember I've been answering a lot of questions on TikTok too, because people are asking questions. But anyway, if you want to ask something, hi Melanie, how are you going? I'm here to answer your questions, especially if they're to do with what we've been talking about over the last week. If you want to have a bit more understanding. So I'll give it a little bit of time. We're up to 24 minutes now. The videos are quite, hey Carla, how are you? The videos take a long time to upload. So I think for half an hour one the other day for somebody that I did, it took me like 2 hours or something to get it up and running. So that's why I've sort of chosen not to do any more along the way until I get home. But I'll be home on Friday. If you want personal readings, I'm more than happy for you to send them through and I'll get them done when I get home. Other than that, I'll start back on here on Monday. Adapting to your psychic abilities. You know, it's funny, this one. I actually feel very different to a lot of people with developing psychic ability, because I feel like a lot of people sort of look at psychic abilities as something you've got to learn when we already have the psychic abilities. What I feel is the most important thing when you're trying to get your psychic abilities sort of out there, or starting to understand them, learn how to use them, is to get rid of all the other stuff that's holding you back. I talk about this a lot with people, because we can try to develop, but we won't always trust, because some of the things that have held us back have put us in this energy of not trusting what we can do. So, you know, getting out cards, practicing cards, doing those sort of things is great. But I feel like if you still don't trust your psychic ability, and that may be, I like that, Jane. If you're trying to learn new things and you haven't sort of cleared yourself of the stuff that's holding you back, that makes a difference. Now, I always use this story, which I think is really, really important. And it's a simple little story, but it will help you to understand. We are all born with psychic abilities. We are all born with psychic abilities. But when we're young, very often we are put in positions where we doubt our capacity. And the one that I always talk about is, as a child, you are very perceptive. If any of you have little children around, you will blow out sometimes at the things they pick up and the things they say, because their intuition is spot on. So if a child walks into a room and they have people who are you know, perhaps not the best or most truthful people to be around. And we do this as adults too. So maybe there's a lesson in this for all of us. But if you walk into a room and two people are arguing, as an adult, you can sense the energy in the room, right? As a child, you too can sense the energy in a room. So two people fighting and arguing, the child walks in the room and senses that something's not right, and says to the two people in the room, "Is everything okay?" And one of the people, both of the people turn around and go, "No, everything is great. We're fine. What's the problem?" And you know in your gut that things aren't right. So as a child, what starts to happen is you start to think that feeling you've got is not real, that you are sort of somewhat skewed or on the wrong track. You start to disengage, you start to not trust the energy. Now, that's only a sort of simple example. If you have parents who gaslight, parents who are dismissive, parents who are unsupportive, that can really accentuate that sort of energy. But I mean, for most people, if a child walks in a room and you're fighting or arguing, it's okay to say to them, "We've just had an argument, we're just having a little disagreement, but everything is fine." Then you're telling the truth and you're not distorting the energies that are coming through for that child. As an adult, we do the same thing. You walk in a room, you know two people have been fighting straight away. So you just understand that that's how it is. So if you are constantly in an environment of being given wrong vibrations, then you grow up mistrusting who you are. Now, that's what you need to work on. If you want to start bringing your psychic abilities forward, it's all very well to do psychic testing, you know, and try all these things to get your energies going. But you will be the person who will read a tarot reading and go, "Oh, I'm not sure if that's what I'm reading there." So I would start with you. Start clearing back some of those energies. There we go, narc, mother and gaslighter. Brought up not to trust yourself. So 59 years old and trying to peel back the layers, Tina. And this is what happens. But you see, when you do start peeling back the layers, you find that you actually have really, really good psychic ability. So what I want to say is, if you want to develop your psychic ability, clear this stuff you've had from before. Asking how to do that, you can do, you know, some inner child work. You can do some work on yourself. If you want to do that more intensely, you can do some shadow work as well. But you will get to trust your abilities. It takes a little while, but you will. So that's definitely where I'd start. There you go, see? Not trusting your own intuition about your own life, but others on point. That happens for a lot of us. How come we can tell what other people are doing? We trust our intuition with other people. But I love you too, Tina. We trust our abilities when it comes to other people, but we don't trust what's happening to ourselves. Ask yourself why that is, because I think that's a really important aspect of yourself to really understand. I've got a really good trick for you. If you're a reader, when I'd read for myself, I never used to trust what I was reading. I would read amazing things and think, oh, not really trusting that at all. So what I do is I do a card reading, and I do it like I would for anybody else. I call it like I would if it was somebody else's reading. So I actually sit there like I'm reading for somebody else. If you take the aspect of self out, the things you are most likely to doubt are the good stuffs. You don't always disregard all the rest. Sagittarius. I have a Sagittarius stellium. A quick uplifting clearing. We could do that. Let's do it at the end. Let's just make sure there's no more questions, and then we'll have a look at that. Yeah, see, there you go. But you can't second guess yourself. It's crazy. Hey, Sapphire Coast, how you going? Yeah, if you're not trusting yourself, then you must realize that there's some sort of block there, right? But what you can do, like I said, is you can put your reading out, and then you could tape it, and perhaps do it like you were reading for somebody else. Hey, Empress Ava, how you going? But we can definitely do a little bit. Let's do a little bit of a get together with everybody. Big block. It's not a big block, Tina. You're an incredibly beautiful, wonderful person, and I feel that I can't tell you that enough, but you've got to learn it yourself. And I feel it's really hard for you because of your situation. It really is difficult. You have a very complex situation. You know, if you're still, for some of us, you know, if you have people around you that are toxic or difficult, we can cut them off. Some of you are not as lucky as that. Some of you are still caring for people or around people all the time. Some of you in toxic relationships. And as long as you're in those situations, it's very hard to free yourself. But remember, you have the choice. Like I always say, for many of you, you have to remember you're only here once, you know, to get this right. But for people who are with family members who may be responsible as carers, it's difficult sometimes to just walk away. Yeah, and I do really get that. But I feel really strongly if you just focus on yourself and what you need, and grey rock, we call it grey rocking. If you've got a narcissist person around you that you do have to deal with, just use the process of grey rocking, and you can Google that. And what that talks about is, we probably should do it all the time, really. But it talks about allowing just everything just to fall off you. So if you think of a grey rock in a waterfall, and what a grey rock in a waterfall does, that will give you a really good indication of the process. You just let everything just go past you. You just lay there, you enjoy the sun, and you just let all the water run off you. So that is one of the best processes you can take. Just remember, if people are abusive or manipulative, they like to trigger you, and they will look for those triggers within you to get you to react. It's there. That's why we call them vampires, because they feed on the reactions. So if you react to things, then you're making their day. So if you can try and remember to just grey rock, just let everything just slide off you like it doesn't exist. You don't even have to respond. If you feel that you need to respond, all you've got to do is say, thank you, I'll take your feedback on board and I'll get back to you later. Or you can say, if you really want to confuse someone, how does that help me? But whatever you do, do not let yourself be triggered by it, because if they trigger you, then you will respond, and that is what they're after. And once you respond, it's really hard to keep your emotions in check. So, all right, let's do a bit of a clearing. Whoever wants to sit with me for a couple of minutes in silence, and we will bring our energies together and we will clear everybody through here. So if you're up for this, I'm going to Reiki. Just find a place to be quiet. Careful you say you cannot sell your house, because if you start saying I can sell my house, I think you'll find that there'll be a shift for you. All right, so we're going to go into a nice quiet place. Just sit quietly for a few moments. For some of you might like to hum or to chant while you're doing this, but I'm going to go in and give you a healing session. And I will clear you. So just find a nice quiet spot, and I'm going to sit and get into the energies. So take some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Wow, the energy is palpable in here. I'm actually got that like shake, so you are all really putting out some strong energies today. So make sure you clear out what you don't want anymore. Somebody's got sore legs out there, because I've got sore legs here. I've got shaky legs. And make sure when you're finished that you let this energy go. Just let it go. Don't hang on to anything. Is that you with shaky legs, is it, Aroa? Like my legs are shaking, like I've got a... You know when your legs shake when you've got nervous energy? Is that what you're experiencing? All right, now be kind to yourselves. Go and have a really nice big glass of water. Don't have cold water. Always, if you're doing any sort of work on yourself, yeah, I can feel it. Any sort of work on yourself, you always have warm water, always. Your body processes warm water so much better than it does cold. Your cold water puts your body into shock. So you think it cools you down, but it actually does the opposite. Hi, Caitlin, how you going? So please have a wonderful day. Be kind to yourself. Drink lots. Eat lots of green leafy vegetables. I love you too, Tina. Hopefully I can catch up with you this week. Thanks, Carol. You're the best too. Lots of green leafy vegetables. Mwah!